explain this to some of those other people. This isn't about putting names on blast of people that dance with O'Neill, the pieces we did, just recital. Okay, this is my resume. Shine On, West Side Performing Arts, Wisconsin Theater. But as I explain this to you, again, this is my first recital, 2001. Okay, with Sharon Butler, director, WSPA, West Side Performing Arts. Here's what we call resume. Till you lead up to high school or college, whatever, on the different side of comprehension to obtaining a fan base, which again, street side to the blacks and Black Lives Matter, or again, credibility to people that are established with other, famous people. Um, again, she taught Skylar Gray. So again, whether or not she wants to admit to it, Skylar Gray herself, I don't know what their neglect is for their side of society or what they want to prove or whatever. But stage struck, first performance I was in terms of semi-professional. Okay. Um, but the communication of what I'm trying to prove here, Grease, is the performance I was in. We did Grease, West Side Story, um, Wizard of Oz, and then one of the other ones. Can't remember. Brain fart right now. And then here's 2002, Shine On, which is again just another recital. So, but to the point I'm making of this, of when I go through this memoir I did for her, what Sharon Butler did in her memoir, Going to Tremaine stuff. I explained this in the other video. The point of this video is to prove to you an established fan base. Now, there's tons of people that are in show choir, theater arts, social dance, dance classes, ballet, jazz, tap, modern. There's tons of dance schools around the world, around the USA, around poop fart. And so during the middle of your poop fart, how you explain yourself as becoming a multi-talented individual. And again, I'm singer, songwriter, choreographer, videographer, video editor, photographer, editor. I make film art. I I do sound engineering. I DJ. I host events. Etc. A lot of stuff that's changing in the music industry now, whether it's to UMG or it's to Dat Piff and the Mixtape Society, SoundClick, SoundCloud, TuneCore, um, CD Baby, DistroKid, all these different companies and these third parties. To me, it doesn't matter. You can run away from anything: Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, etc. In terms of Mark Zuckerberg, in terms of Elon Musk and PayPal. You guys can run as far as you can digitally. Okay, digitally. But I'm going to prove something in this weird little way, that when you're a talented kid, when you're one of the best dancers in your school, when you're a hard worker, when you have ambition, and again, it isn't just talent. Again, there's academics and there's talent. And this has been the war. There's been a war about this for years, academics versus talent. And so the toughest thing about being a talented person is most of the time we have egos. Okay, most of the time talented people have egos. But academically, people have egos too, because you can get a gold star. I can prove I got tickets at Wisconsin Union Theater. Right here, it's called Shine On. If you look, it's called Shine On '01, and this is Wisconsin Union Theater. It's tickets. And so when you go to the Wisconsin Union Theater, here you go. This is how many seats it holds. This is how many people you perform in front of. Okay, and when you go to the actual performance, this is just for the Saturday show, 6 p.m. Saturday. Okay, and so whether or not it's a Saturday show, the Saturday matinee, or the Sunday show, or Friday night. Again, so there's 4 shows total. Typically, this is what it takes to put on a show. This was a $70,000 rental fee back when we did this in 2001. It was a $70,000 rental fee for Memorial Union Theater. Okay. And this is just a Saturday night show, 6. Then there's Saturday matinee, which is a 1 p.m. and then there's your Sunday show, and then there's your Friday night show. There's four shows total, $70,000. Whether it was for the whole weekend, or it was for every night, I don't know that specifically. Sharon Butler would know. But in the statistics of when you go to do these performances, when you perform in these big venues, this is just one show of many. Okay, and when you become the best dancer, they call it a lead. Okay, so this is like being in a Broadway show, Lion King. Who's Simba? Who's uh I'll be damned. Who's Simba? Who's Nala? Who's Mufasa? Who's Scar? Okay, and so everybody thinks there's a lead piece part. Okay, and then there's also the multi-talented version of people that execute being just a backup, a party parent, or a backup dancer. Okay, and so that's like Jenna Dewan to Janet Jackson. Well, when you go through Jenna Dewan's career, okay, she was just a backup dancer for Janet Jackson for years, but she became established because she was one of the better dancers. And this is what happens with talent. Now, does she have an academic, um, gold star? You know, which, if I can define it in a different way, does she have an academic gold star, which would look like this? An academic gold star. I got academic gold stars in a different way. I got platinum award, gold award for NYCDA. Um, and again, my number for the audition, 2004, my bracelet, etc. And so in all these different performances, whether it was for Dance Wisconsin, the Evening of New Works, from Jo Jean Retram, and again, she's got a lot of professional dancers. And when I go through it, here's my name, Owen Ewell. Fosse we did for Better Tomorrow, choreographed by Liz Imperio. Again, there's my name. And again, this is the Evening of New Works, and this was at the Madison Civic Center. Okay, so this is a different venue. Okay, and so every time we do it, here's the next one. This is the Evening of New Works the next year at Oscar Mayer Theater, a completely different theater. And so when you go through each of these things, Winter Fantasy, which again, this was 2003, and this was at the Wisconsin Union Theater. So that's three different theaters, all right there in these different playbills. Okay, that's what you call playbills. And so when you're the best performer, or even if you're just a backup dancer, and again, Jenna Dewan was just a backup dancer, but you can become established. Being a talented person, whether again it's academic, you go to college and you get a gold star award, or you become the most talented person. And this is a difficult task. Again, all the ticket stubs. This is just resume. Winter Fantasy, which is technically the Nutcracker. It's just called something different because, it's a different dance company or a different venue, etc. And so Wisconsin Union Theater, etc. Bang, bang, get them. Um, that when you go through these differences, back to the explanation while I got somebody shooting across the street, um, um, to this version of what reality is taking these realities of again, Dance Wisconsin, my schedule, you can see my name, Owen. um, River North Dance Chicago, Owen. Okay, you can see my name, River North Dance Chicago. Uh, through these differences, and then the people that get to know you when you're talented. These are all the teachers when I went to River North Dance Chicago. And so, back to the point where I'm going ADHD. The certificates. This is your Gold Star Award. This is your plaque at RIAA. This is your what do you want to call it? Your diploma for your high school, for your college, whether you got your GED, your college degree, or your master's. This is the same thing. This is just a certificate of participation. Owen Ewell, Mad City Dancers, Jo Jean Retram. She was a teacher for Ethan Stiefel. He was in Center Stage. Stuff like that. So again, trained by the same people that go semi-pro, full professional, etc. And this is given credit where credit's due. Okay, and So in these weird ways, all these different performances, all these different um, playbills, um, back to my specific point of everything that we go through in this. And again, I'll want to show something here in a little bit once I figure out where the rest of this is here. The Matrix. So if anybody goes to the newest Matrix movie, if you look on the right side of the screen on a sign, you'll notice there's a conveyance for me when they go into the key shop. And again, this is when they're doing the re reintroduction scene with Neo and Trinity that has the new characters in it, not the old Morpheus, but the new Morpheus. And if you watch the newest Matrix, you'll see the conveyance to me, Owen here, Owen Yule, which is hard to see for some people, but you'll see it. But here's the original Matrix piece we did with a bunch of friends that went to Juilliard, um, uh, Houston Ballet, etc., stuff like that. And there's my name. So, to the point of this is whether you're not you're multi-talented or you have the degree. Back to it. The war that we have in society right now is whether or not you're talented or you have a degree. And so you can be in 1,000 pieces that gives you a resume, and you might not be talented at all, and you might not ever get hired professionally, or you end up creating a fan base because you are talented. And it's a tough thing to actually decide that. You have fans that decide that. Okay. Oh, and you'll choreographer for a piece, etc. And here's another playbill. This is for choir. This is just simple high school. Everybody has this, okay? But it's the brand you make of yourself. It's how hard you work. It's called work ethic. Okay, and you can win with work ethic without the degree, which again, in the spar of the world, in the competitive nature that you go through in some of the stuff, sometimes you make it out, sometimes you're not. And so, in these different versions of sanity, these different versions of explanations of how you generate a fan base, it's how hard you work, it's your character, it's good business. Whether or not you sprain your ankle and you still put a show on, whether or not you have a snowstorm and you have to give back all of the money from your ticket sales, which is what Ticketmaster goes through all the freaking time with Justin Bieber and Taylor Swift, and whether or not they're corrupted and actually give the money back, or what they actually do in those weird little ways. And so when you go through each of your categories of resume of life and stuff, and this is what I'm trying to explain to some of my famous friends that think it took T. Roan or Kevin Gates or Kasky or OG Booby Black to kind of make me famous, where again they're trying to, I don't want to say undermine me, whether it's black, white, Mexican, privilege, street side, cartel, whatever it is. Here's the Sunday show, 1 o'clock, and this is for the same thing, Memorial Union Theater. And so this is how many seats it holds. And again, one through poop fart, 12, 12, 12 people, 12 people, 12 people. How many rows? And then you multiply it, and then the mezzanine, you multiply it, and again, you have your Friday show, you have your Saturday matinee, Saturday night show, and your Sunday show. And this is the proof it's Sunday. And so when you go through each of these shows as your resident, and this is for cabaret, here's a different show, oh, Yule, dance solo, etc., etc. It's resume to prove how many people came up to show. And this is the exact point I'm going to get into here, of credibility plus your talent plus your hard work and effort. Here's a different show at a different place, Madison Mitby Theater, MATC Truex Field. Okay, my grandpa built this place, crazy enough. Zoc Joseph Fabricators. Wayne Ewell was the plant manager of Zoc Joseph Fabricators. And so this is what you call playbill. This is just a different venue. Back to my point, it's a different venue. How many people it holds. The venue holds so many people. And when you go through it, of proving whether or not I was actually in the piece or not. Trying to find what the characters are. But Franz is Friends. Oh, and Yule, just a different playbill. Copelia, but a different theater. Okay, and so my point of this is how many people observed me in these years before Kevin Gates, um, even back before Kasky. And so credit where credit's due, you actually have to establish where that credit comes from. And it's a pretty interesting thing. So this is the Madison Mitby Theater. This is Copelia 2003, what I just showed you. This is All Points North. Um, Regional Dance America, RDA. This is in Interlochen, Michigan, Center of the Arts. This is the tickets, proof I was there, 2 shows, etc. So when you go to each one of these venues, and again, whichever the venue is, Interlochen, shit, they got at least fucking 10 stages. Pardon my French. Madison Mitby Theater, how many does it hold? 100, 500. And it's how many shows. So you got 500, 700, we'll call it 1,000. 1,000 people, and you end up having 3 shows, 4 shows: Friday night, Saturday matinee, Saturday evening, and your Sunday shows. Same thing with All Points North. We were there training Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Friday night, same thing. We go through it, NYCDA, etc., etc. And so, in all these different schedules, all these different dances, all these different playbills, this was cabaret. This is a different playbill. You go through each one. This isn't gloating, but the point I'm trying to get to, for the proof. There's my name, Owen Yule. Different playbill, and this is where you you go through how many people have observed you. Spotlight, Le Corsaire, a ballet piece I did. This is a male variation. Le Corsaire, the pirate, Jason Sisler, choreography, etc. And again, I don't even know if Jason Sisler knew that I did Le Corsaire. And this was at Cabaret, and we didn't do this for Joe Jean. This is my show choir stuff. This is my show choir stuff, and I still ended up taking it um, to my high school to prove, hey, I got enough balls to throw on some tights and dance in front of all my girlfriends and friends in high school, and that I was called gay, LGBTQ, or sitting there as a heterosexual trying to show off to some other cute females in my show choir. Again, you can go through all the different psychologies. What do we got? Beat It, Michael Jackson's Beat It, On You, etc. You can go through all these things to attach yourself to fame, but it's your hard work, it's your character, and your talent and perseverance. And again, some of us go back to school for the degree, whether it's for sound engineering, music video production, whether it's the actual videography or if it's the editing and actual um, production of the video itself. Which again, I do all that stuff. Whether or not you go back to school, teach piano, teach violin, teach trumpet, arts and entertainment, etc. And so every time you go through these shows, the main point of this video, me learning from Laura Alonso, this is Ballet Cuba. Um, Again, I didn't go there. I had a scholarship. I actually got a scholarship from her, full scholarship to go there, but that's a whole different story later. Um, but every time you go through these things, the point of this um, is how many shows that I was in. That this is show choir, Sauk Prairie Invitational. We saw probably like 40 different schools, and I already went through this in another video. But the point I'm trying to get to this, and I keep going around it, is each one of these shows has a different venue, and each venue holds a certain amount of people. And the more talented you are as a dancer, the better character you have, um, the harder you work, etc., the more credibility you get. And this is just established credit throughout the years. Dance Masters of Wisconsin, another venue. And again, if anybody knows Gus Giordano, that's another famous person. I'll go. etc., etc. Wisconsin Singers, another show we did, uh, which my name might be there, etc. And I'm not here to show the names. It's just each venue, each one of these venues. As we go through this, Owen Yule, Rhythm of the Night. Again, I went through this and the other thing. This was at the Madison Civic Center. This is called Welcome to Musical Memories, a completely different show. But the Civic Center that holds what, 2,500 people. Um, you know, 3,000 people. I can't tell you. I can't even remember. Again, Jillian Murphy, Sasha Rudensky. This one was at Oscar Mayer Theater. So each one of these shows has a specific amount of people. Now, this is the same proof. Owen Yule, wasn't the lead. Cillian Murphy from American Ballet Theater, Sasha Rudensky from Center Stage, they were the leads. But it's how well you put on a show. It's just like Jenna Dewan. It's just like Jenna Dewan. So again, I was basically just a peon. You don't see my name on the flyer, on the playbill, right? But you don't see Jenna Dewan as the main lead at Janet Jackson's concert. But if you're one of the better dancers, if you're established, and if you work hard, you end up becoming somebody. You end up becoming something. And this is what should give everybody some motivation. Because even Jenna Dewan was only a backup dancer for Janet Jackson, but she's an established professional. This is how you get there. It's your character, it's your ambition, it's your mindset, it's your motivation. And so in these different values of the point I'm getting to, of the whole value thing, at every one of these venues that we did, now this is a different cabaret, 2002. Here's my name, Owen Yule. One's for the Thursday, Friday show. One's for Saturday show. And when you go through all these different playbills, there I am, Owen Yule. This was a different show. This was a December concert. It was just a winter concert. Winter gala is what we called it. That's it. Super simple. East Side Orchestra. And again, when I go into it, it gives you song lyrics, and then it shows you who's all in the show. And here's my name, Owen Yule, singing, etc. Each one of these shows at the venues, each venue holds specific people. And every time you do your own piece, your own solo piece, whatever else, you kind of stand out a little bit, right? And here was our yearly thing for show choir. We did the show choir camp. We had show choir gig at the Arts Banquet. That's a venue. Big 8 Choral Music Fest. Wisconsin Singers on Campus. Pageant. Winter concert. The Lions Club. Middle school, Sauk Prairie Invitational, Monona Grove Invitational, Twerp, which is just our school, but we had 3,000 people in our school. And again, that's just one specific performance. And this was just in high school alone. This was just in high school alone. All these different cabarets, show choir, social dance, theater arts, um, and modern jazz, tap, ballet, etc. Pas de deux, etc. And so at each one of these venues, at each one of the shows, Friday, Saturday matinee, Saturday night, Sunday. And again, that's for each one of those shows most of the time, or sometimes it was just single shows. And then Virginia Davis, another school, different venue. And so all this other stuff, Edgerton Performing Arts Center, Edgerton, Wisconsin, etc. So when you go through this, and my point of it is every one of these venues that I performed at, whether it was show choir, social dance, theater arts, um, or ballet, jazz, tap, modern, or if it was a band I was in a band down in Broadhead. We performed in front of the high school for homecoming. We performed for a wedding. We performed for graduation, etc., etc. And so, again, that's Broadhead, Wisconsin. That was a high school I performed at. Monona Grove Memorial. Um, what else? It's just like the jocks going to different football games. It's the same thought process, but when you're a performer versus a football jock, again, quarterback, linebacker, um, stuff like that, it's the credibility you end up getting through that process. And so my point of this to all my friends out in LA and all my famous friends is the credibility I got before I was performing with Kevin Gates and Tyrone and Tory Lanez and Caskey and stuff like that, is this is where my fan base came from, and this is where they're getting frustrated. They just shut me down. They thought they could hide this little cash crop of society, and yet these are all the witnesses. I just had my own fan base. This came before Tyrone. This is back in 2002, homies. When did I start hanging out with Tyrone and stuff? Shit, not till 2013. 2000, to 2016, establishing friendships. But in the cash crop of the corruption of the music society, this is why they're getting frustrated. They're saying, how the fuck does Owen have his own fan base. They wanted to say it came from T-Rone, Kevin Gates, Kasky, etc. And this is where I'm kind of trying to prove it to you. And at each one of these shows, whether it was Virginia Davis here, or this was, again, uh, that one I wasn't in actually. That was just a friend. Um, but through the different shows that we did, um, again, and this was Shine On 2001. This is before T-Rone, Kasky, Kevin Gates, Tory Lanez, Twista, everybody we've performed with through the faming process. And this is an established fan base I created in those processes. Okay, so back to the point. In these venues, and if we were to count how many, we got 5, 6, let's add it up, 7, 8, all the way up to 12 people in a row. And so you count that, let's just call it 10. So if you take 12, 12, 12, and you put it down to where there's only 5, and you take all the twos, the extra twos to make it 10 rows, that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140. So that's 140 people. You do that again, right? So you go through the 140 people, that's 283 something. You're talking that's, like 1,000 people. And that's just for the Saturday show. Saturday night at 6, and there's Saturday matinee, there's Sunday, and there's Friday night. So that's 4 shows at 1,200. We'll call it 1,200 people. So 1,200 different people, 4 shows. That equates to about 5,000 people. And that's just one show specifically for the weekend of 2001. You see what I'm saying? That was just in 2001 for one weekend. You see what I'm saying? Wisconsin Union Theater, that's what it held. And how many shows we had? That's what it would be, 5,000 people for one little show. And so when you go through that, when I go through this one here, now I can't remember what Edgerton Performing Arts Center holds. I can't remember the venue, but that's another. We'll just call it 500. We'll be gracious. But how many shows? That was just Friday, Saturday shows. Okay. Go back into the tour dates of what we did. Again, the different shows that we do: fall concert, Wisconsin Singers, gig at St. Peter's Church, the pageant, which is basically homecoming, um, combined concert, winter concert, freshman Sauk Invitational, Whitewater Invitational, Twerp, Elks Club. These are all different shows with 5 people, 10 people, 100, and 1,000. It just depends on what venues they were at. And that was just show choir alone. That was just show choir alone. Okay, and again, that was basically the whole year of only 2002. Now I got 2003 and 2004, etc. And so our gala held at least 500 people, just seats alone, let alone the sides where people would stand with video cameras and teachers and chaperones and stuff. Ended up being about a 600 person venue, and we'd have then 3 shows for the weekend, sometimes 2. Just depends on what show it was. If it was for show choir or whatever else. For winter gala, it was for, I think it was 2 shows. It might have just been 1. So for this, it was 7 p.m. for the chorale, and we were in show choir. That was just a one-night thing. Okay. But that was 600 people, and that's parents, let alone all the students that were in it, let alone all the students that were in it. Here's all the students. You got the choir, you got the piano, you got the band, you have the chorale, and then you have the show choir. I mean, you're talking, that's over, probably 800 people. That's almost 1,000 people. And each one of those shows, we put on at least 4 a year in that theater. So that's 4,000 different parents and etc. Cousins, nieces, nephews, anybody that buy tickets, strangers from out the street. I can't tell you who would buy the tickets, but guess what? That's the neat thing about creating a fan base. All right, the neat thing about creating a fan base, I can't tell you where the fans came from. If they're show choir friends as parents, if they were the friends in show choir, the friends in social dance, the friends in theater arts, the friends in ballet, jazz, tap, modern. If it was Interlochen friends, Kansas City Regional Dance America friends, New York City Dance Alliance friends, Youth America Grand Prix friends, Interlochen friends. I can't tell you where they came from. And that's just the friends of the people I do classes with, let alone the parents that would come to see the shows. And so here's Cabaret 2002. That's another 14th and 15th, so that's 2 shows. That's basically about, like I said, 1,000 people per show. That's 2,000 more people. That's 2,000. This is just 2,000 or 2002. So let's just keep going here. So we're right now at the performances I'm at between where I started at Stage Struck. Okay, this is where you generate your own fans, and even though they're not hitting like and they're not hitting follow, but when I go through that weird psychology of like, oh, and where do you get these fans? They come from T-Rone, they come from Kasky, they come from wherever. And this is what's helping their sales too. Which again, respect to disrespect, there's total disrespect, and then it's put tights on everybody. So if I'm talking to Birdman, it's respect to disrespect, then it's total disrespect, and then you don't want to know the weird part? It's put tights on everybody. I don't think that's what Birdman said. I can't remember what Birdman said. Respect to disrespect, then total disrespect, then it's put tights on everybody. Oh no, then he said it's fuck everybody. Right, yeah. Can't remember. But back to the point. So just this venue alone, um, this is Wisconsin Union Theater. Like I said, this is about a 1,200 person, 1,500 person show. We got Saturday matinee, Sunday show, and Friday night. That's 4 shows at 1,200. That's 5,000. So once I go through this is another 500 show. This is probably another 500 show. Then each one of these shows, which again, fall concert, that's 1,000. Let's see. That's 1,000 people. So Wisconsin Singers Campus Show, that would have been Union. That would have been 1,200. That's 2,000. Then combined concert, that would have been 3,000. Winter concert, that's 4,000. Let's see. Corral show, that's 6,000. Sock Invitational, that's probably more like 2,000 people for invitationals. Those are huge. So that would be 8,000. Monona Grove Invitational, 10,000. That's 10,000 people just in one year. Just in one year. That would have been between 2001, well, 2 years, 2001, 2002. Then it's into Cabaret, that's 11,000. This is still 2002. 11,000. 11,000 people already in one year. Where are we at here? This is 2002. This is at the Civic Center. Now, I can't remember what this holds. That might have been 700 to 2,000 people. I can't remember. But if I go through it, this one I did my own solo. Spotlight. Spotlight means solo. Owen Yule, Dance Rhythm of the Night. Uh, Musical Memories. This is the Madison Civic Center. I can't remember how many that used to hold. Again, 1,000, 2,000. So we're at, what, 13,000 people just in 2002 alone. This is still 2002, 2003, Winter Fantasy, Oscar Mayer Theater. There's another, and this one was Saturday at 2 and at 7:30. That's 2 shows, 1,200 people. Now we're at 14 to 15,000 people for the year. Parents, friends, everything else. Here we go, Wisconsin Singers. Let's see, is my name in this one? I can't remember. Yep, here we go, Wisconsin Singers. Owen Yule, baritone, singer. Wisconsin Singers. What was this at? This was University Campus. Where was it held at? Probably would have been the Memorial Union, which would have been another 1,200. So we're at about 16,000 people. Here's 2002, Dance Masters of Wisconsin, same year. This would have been probably another 1,000 people. So we're at 17,000 people. And this is a different dance program. This is through Virginia Davis. And Gus Giordano is a pretty famous choreographer out of Chicago, which then puts us down to, again, this is how you get to know people and where you leave your imprint. If you're a good dancer or talented person, which is kind of where jealousy comes from. But to Tyrone, Kevin Gates, Kasky, if you guys got sales, bro, you could say thank you too. And this is where T Roan and Kevin Gates and everybody, if we're going to talk about these incentives and where everybody's messing up right now, this is going to be one of those big mistakes you guys make if we're going to go into this lawsuit on who actually established the fans to make this payment uh, for what this is. Okay. And so I'm not saying it to gloat. I'm not saying Black Lives don't matter. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. But don't think I didn't get you guys sales. T-Rowan, Kevin Gates, everybody else. And when I go through each one of the things, now we're in 2003. And again, right back to it. When we do the potluck show, let's see, we go fall concert. That's another 1,000 people. Let's see, singers show. That would have been 1,200 people. Now this is the next year. And this is that same schedule. Show choir, that show choir alone, that would have been another 14,000 people. So now we're at 28,000 people in 2 years. All right. And it's weird. You don't see followers, you don't see likes because of those weird differences. But when you see the views, when you see my streams, that's where they're coming from, man. This is what I got to tell you. You guys can't just think it was just T Rowan and Kevin Gates alone. Now you add those famous people to it, and it starts making you go crazy a little bit. It starts making you understand where you come from. But this is into 2003. This is an invitational. Again, there's probably like 3,000 to 5,000 people in each one of these invitationals. And again, when I go through it to prove it, well, how would you say there's 2,000 to 3,000 people? And when you go through it, you go through each one of the schools. Which again, hate to waste people's time. But we got Sullivan High School, Lodi High School, Cedar Rapids, Brawhead, Watosha High School, Chippewa Falls High School, Mooresville High School, Mayville High School, Neenah High School, New London, Madison East, Webb, Holman. Again, so this is all just the high schools alone. That's how many high schools were involved in it. Then you look at how many students. Each show choir typically had about 30 to 35, plus the crew or the band. 30 to 35. So we got, again, when you start it, we'll say 35. We got Webb, we got Mayville, we got New Generation, we got Lodi High School, we got Cedar Rapids, we got Broadhead, we got Watosha Central High School, we got Kettle Moraine Lutheran High School, Chippewa Falls High School, Mooresville High School, Maryville's High School, again, Cedar Rapids, another one in Broadhead. One was middle school, one was high school. We have Neenah, Wisconsin, Mooresville, Wisconsin. And again, roughly 30 people per choir. All the people you meet, another 30 people per choir. Another 30 people. There we are. There I am. Hey. Okay. So again, when you go through it on these things of here's my name, Owen Yule, and the guy throwing his hands back up in the air right there, there's my hand throwing my hey, that's me. And it's your character. So you look at everybody else, you got your normal people, you got this guy making a funny face, you got the guy throwing a guitar up, he says, hey, I'm doing it. I'm the center of the show. This is the Owen Yule show. Okay. And so each one of these, again, 30 students, different high school. This one had 30. This one had 40. And so this is where you generate your fan base. And this is just one show in 2003. One show. This was Sauk Prairie Invitational 2003. Let's go to the next. Here's called Silver Stage Invitational 2003. This is the next one. Same thing. Different high schools, different area, different region, competitive nature. There's another 2,000 to 3,000 people. And so when you go through this for T Rowan, Caskey, Kevin Gates, and shit, if you guys got sales, just like you want me to say thank you, just like you guys want me to say thank you. That same karma of coming back with Ariana Grande, the owner of TuneCore and stuff, where the fans are established, with Taylor Swift, Ariana Grande, T Rowan, Caskey, the people that took down my copy, the people that took down my home, you're embarrassing yourself in front of all of these people. And some of these people went pro. Some of these people have lawyers. Some of these people have friends. All right. Joanne Terry, New York City Dance Lights. I can't even tell you how many thousands of kids are at this same thing. And that's just, the training. Shit, it's probably 2,000. So at each year for me, each one of these years from 2002 to 2004, it's roughly 20,000, 14 to 20,000 people I would meet every year or perform in front of. And again, back to the point of some of how it is of the comprehension of doing solos or stuff like that, or where I'm known in Cuba with Laura Alonso. I'm known in Cuba. I'm known in Interlochen. I'm known in Kansas City. I'm known in Chicago with Gusto Giordano, with Hubbard Street, with River North Dance Chicago, with Mike Ditka and the Chicago Rush, the indoor football team and winning team with Win Bickhoff. All right. And again, I'm known from Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines. I auditioned for Royal Caribbean. And this was all before I met Tyrone, Caskey, Kevin Gates, OG Booby Black, Tory Lanez, Twista, um, you know, uh, quite a few others. Rest in peace, DJ Unk. Rest in peace, Ra Ra. Um, and who else do we got? Gorilla Zoe. Um, a bunch of people we performed with. So, and again, 2 shows for 2023. Different show, Copelia, different performance hall. Okay, so this one was at MATC. I can't remember. I think that's only like an 800 person. So like I said, between 15 to 20,000 people per year from 2002 to 2004. And every time I go through it and these different things, um, at those proofs, again, between the Copelia performance or All Points North and Interlochen, again, one was the second, one was the third. That's 2 shows, etc., etc. And each one of those, again, the venues hold so many people. And so for Tyrone, Kevin Gates, Caskey, we're going to be going into this argument on specifics on who actually brings the fan base. And I don't want you guys to be in denial of those same things of what my schedule used to be for me to become pro and as talented as I am. Whether or not it's training you think, or it's my character and professionalism, of where some of you guys are embarrassing yourself taking my copyrighted song down from TuneCore and taking away my performance rights from BMI when I didn't do anything wrong. I'm trying to kind of prove to you something where you guys are screwing up your own royalties money and you're ruining your own fan base. A bunch of kids dropped out of college, everything else. Hey, if Owen can't get a job and stuff like that, then why should they keep paying for college? Knowing they're going to be lied to. Knowing they're going to be lied to. So again, one was the Saturday show, one's the Sunday show. This is where all of that comes from, and it's such a freaking crazy thought process. Such a crazy thought process that each one of these shows at different venues, how many people they held, how many parents saw you, etc. This is theater arts, the revenge of the tech crew. This is a completely different class. Now we had a night performance and then 2 day performances in school, which was then again 600 was our venue. So that would have been 1,800. Let's see, 6 and 6 is 12, and 6 is 8, 3 performances. So yeah, that would have been what, 1,800 people just for one show. And again, each time the next year, Revenge of the Tech Crew, it's a completely different year, same show, that was 1,800 people there. So out of my whole fan base of my whole high school career alone, I probably met over 60,000 different friends that were in dance, show choir, theater arts, different performances, etc., different venues, um, and again, the people that made it. Look up Michael Hartung. Everybody go look up Michael Hartung. He's been on CSNBC, Gossip Girls, blah blah blah. Owen Ewell, Michael Hartung, same performance for semi-pro. Jonathan Person, he went to Juilliard or Joffrey. Jimmy Peranto, Houston Ballet. Justin Bohan, Milwaukee Ballet, etc. Stuff like that. David Litton Zerson, he got a scholarship to Ballet Cuba too. He actually went to Ballet Cuba. I got the scholarship. I just couldn't afford the flight. I was a broke boy. Okay, but all of my friends that went semi-pro or pro. All right, and so in these weird ways of establishing where my friends come from, the embarrassment to what some of the other people are going through, to specifics, it's one of the toughest things. Cincinnati or Louisville Ballet, Jenny Lawal, to a bunch of proof of promise to other people that went semi-pro. And this isn't about just name dropping. This whole point of this video was actually the proof of my established, not just the resume side of it, but the side of these performances and how big the venues were when we would perform. And it's the size of the venues that I would establish those same fans of becoming an established dancer, choreographer, singer, songwriter, stuff like that. And so again, plus a lot of these people went pro for then you guys to know for those same, you know, defamations per se, or where your fan base comes from, or how much ass you have to kiss, or where your established resume price is, whether or not you're charging $500 for a feature, or $10,000 for a feature, or a million like Timberland and everybody else for what those features are. And so in most of this defining point for a lot of people trying to understand where I get my curriculum, whether or not it's talented or academic, the professional people, how you see these conveyances, who you're communicating with. I have memories with so many individuals in a lot of these communications. Again, I'm just kind of trying to prove to you, Michael Hartung, somebody I used to perform with. Owen Yule, Michael Hartung, same playbill. Go look up Michael Hartung. You'll see he's a famous dude. I got friends all over the place. Okay, and in these weird um, other ways of communicating to you. It is, whether it's who you know, what you're putting on blast. Some people don't want me dropping their name and showing this because they're embarrassed of what just happened to me. Other people don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends on your character, your resume, your reputation, so-called Taylor Swift. And again, like I said, Jimmy Pronto, Houston Ballet, Jonathan Person, Juilliard, Owen Yule, I own OmoneyRecords, Hubbard Street, Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, the Chicago Rush indoor football team with Mike Ditka and Wynn Bickoff know me. Um, Again, David Litton Sarrazin, he got a scholarship to Ballet Cuba. So did I. So did Jonathan. We were the three boys that got scholarships to Laura Alonso in Cuba. Justin Bohan, Milwaukee Ballet, Michael Hartung. He was on Peter Pan on CSNBC or Fox or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but don't hold me to Heather Bybee. She's a professional teacher. Stuff like that. Kristen Herlash, I'm sure she's in here somewhere. She works for Milwaukee Ballet now too. So in all these different little excuses about who you know, what you know, name dropping, where I'm not just putting one on blast. Skylar Gray, I got Kristen Herlash, Justin, Gina, Milwaukee Ballet, Michael Hartung, again, he was in Peter Pan on CMSNBC, and I'm kind of trying to prove it to Eminem and Birdman and everybody else. I had my own fan base here, and I'm sure they spent money on Weirdo. So whoever the TuneCore owner is and BMI, these people are going to testify having my song in their phone, and you got to tell me where that royalty money is. You got to tell me where those profits are, because technically they all spent that dollar and it's not in my pocket. And all these people will be showing up to court to testify for some of those same weird little defamations and you guys' fraudulent behavior. Scooter Braun, Taylor Swift, whoever's playing the game, I can't call you out, but I'm going to call you out because all these people are disappointed as hell in you guys' fucking egos. All right, pardon my French, but again, there's fucking ego problems out here. There's corruption, and so I'm going to put it on blast for some of those same effing reasons. But when you go through the process of your fan base about who you know, what you know, who protects you, who stabs you in the back, who's got a reputation, who's scared to even name drop, who's embarrassed, all these different things. Again, it's a different thought process to go through of what defamations is and what those corruptions are to what you even do in these type of things. But a lot of these people would be, showing up and again, here's Kristen here last. She works for Milwaukee Ballet. I think she's got a different last name now. She's married or whatever. But again, so the T-Rone, Kevin Gates, everything else, a lot of these people went pro, semi-pro. If you look up Joe Jean Retram, where she was trained, Jason Sisler, Nicole Sisler, they have resume of Cincinnati Ballet, Louisville Ballet, professional dancers paid, et cetera, Joe Hall dancers, etc., etc. So when you go through um, every little part of who you know and what you know, again, you can watch. I can't remember what it's called on PBS. Um, PBS for Ethan Stiefel and Joe G. Wood trained Ethan, where his beginning training came from. I'm trained by those same people and going full pro. And then again, the point of this video was the actual venues, the size of the venues, and how many venues I performed at per year just in high school alone, and then being one of the more talented ones, doing hip hop or ballet or etc. and stuff like that. I created a name for myself. And if you ask anybody from show choir, I'm sure they have videos of me in show choir. You can watch me doing Justin Timberlake or Britney Spears, and you'll hear the audience scream my name. Owen, hi! You'll hear it, and it sounds just like a Taylor Swift or Justin Bieber concert. And so, again, Swan Lake or whatever we were doing, this was original pieces. Owen, Hip Hop and Timberlake Summer Dance Program 2003. I taught dance. And again, established dance. If you do a background check, it proves I was a paid choreographer, a paid dance teacher. Ballet or beginners ballet, intermediate ballet, hip hop, and jazz. And then again, everything else I went established with River North down in Chicago, blah blah blah. And so just to the point of this video was the venues, how many venues I would perform in, whether it was MATC, Oscar Mayer Theater, Madison Civic Center, the Overture, again, Little Boosie, Kevin Gates, Caskey, wherever we perform in Twista, um, DJ Unk, tons of different people, and I haven't even gone through all the other ones that we opened up for at OmoneyRecords, let alone what we did in this process before high school. So for T-Rone and everybody else in this stuff of why my song should still be up with the ownership, the copyright ownership, and BMI should still be sending me royalty checks. Somebody made a mistake, and it's pretty embarrassing in front of all these people that were paying attention to this, from Salt Creek Ballet and a whole bunch of other stuff. The old friends that were watching that spent money that should be in my pocket right now, and not Grande's or whoever owns TuneCore. And it's kind of disappointing. So I'll be interested to see how this ends up in the court here in the future, and I look forward to this. So, anyways, NYCDA, how many people would actually be in this? And again, we went to this from 2002, 2003, 2004, 3 times. I was down here. And this is just one where I win awards. Youth America Grand Prix, um, 6th place again. Critics' Choice. I won Critics' Choice at this too. So you go through all this stuff, and this is how embarrassing it is for BMI. To me, it would be embarrassing for BMI and everything else. I was on America's Funniest Home Videos too, millions of people globally. So, anyways, that's just where we're at.